know when y'all hear that tune, what time it is? I'd like to thank everybody who is joining in tonight. You know we got a big show tonight. We got a huge show. We're going to go over our picks from last week. We're going to review the upcoming games that are coming out with some big surprises. We got a lot going on. I'd like to welcome all of you to the HBCU Coaches Corner, and I'm your guy, Rocky Miller, along with the host of the show, none other than the legend himself, SWAC legend, HBCU legend, and SWAC championship coach, none other than your man, Johnnie Cole. How you doing today, Coach?
Man, I'm great, Coach, man. How you doing, boy? It's just another show, man. This thing getting hot. We've been getting calls. We've been doing our thing, man, and this show been growing. And hey, man, I'm proud of that, and I'm glad that have you as my co-host. And man, look, we getting there, Rocky. We getting there. People believing, everything we talk about. There's some truth to it.
Absolutely, Coach. I want to personally thank you for your many years of coaching knowledge, bringing that to the show, your many contacts. You got contacts from the Pittsburgh Steelers to all the way here back in high school in Texas, guys you've coached, played with, and also coached with. And so we're going to use those tentacles tonight, Coach, and bring on a very special guest as we announced in the open. And for this particular guest, it's a very tough time, Coach. And you always said there's two kind of coaches. What kind of coaches are there, Coach?
Coach, one to get hired and one to get fired. I've been on both sides of that desk.
Yeah, and a lot of times, Coach, the hiring is a huge celebration. There's a lot of fanfare related to being hired. But, Coach, when you let go, it seems to be very unceremoniously done. Let me ask you this, Coach. Do you get a chance to say bye to your players, your support staff, the administration? Do you get that opportunity, or you have to just get that done as you use the phone number, your little black book to reach out to them and thank them and appreciate them or whatever? Well,
as far as saying goodbye to the administration, and it's totally up to the athletic director. Fortunately for me, I've never been let go because of winning and losing. It's always been some controversial deal, and I was able to go back to the players and sit with them and let them know. Or, I was making a choice to move from one team.
A promotion.
Yeah. The thing that I want people to understand, especially our people, HBCU people, coaches get hired and coaches get fired. It doesn't question his character or his ability to be a father to his kids, to be an outstanding pillar in his community. It's just that it's a choice that the administration make. I don't like your red shoes, or I don't like what you're doing. It don't necessarily have to do with the coach is a bad person. It's like in black college, if a coach let go, you got these people out here that's had behind all this media, digs all in it, all through it, oh man, the guy was sleeping with this guy, the guy was doing this, guys, stop that. The guy was an alcoholic. Well, guess what? There's a coach down the road from me at the University of Texas, the most expensive football program in the country, was drunk off himself, about to fall off a stage, and now he's the head football coach of one of the most powerful programs in the country. Because see, they don't get into that. We make mistakes, and we got to get away from that. You know, we as people got to get it because they understand people go through things. Alcoholic, drug addicts, learning how to tame the attitude. It has nothing to do with a person that can get the job done. Nothing.
Coach Cole, as you mentioned, the struggles that coaches may have as a person, as a human being, right? And we all struggle with something, Coach. Just be perfectly honest with you. If you are fortunate enough to be part of this human experience, you're going to struggle with something. There's going to be something that you didn't master, something that, happens.
Right.
The one thing that bothers me, Coach, a lot of times is that when we're evaluating coaches or just public figures in general, right, the truth should be sufficient in most cases, right?
Right.
But if for whatever reason they feel like the truth isn't sufficient, they'll make up things, Coach. And that's what I don't like. Is that they'll simply say things that are very damaging to a person's reputation without reaching out to verify that what they're saying is accurate. And that's what I think is quite damaging in some cases. And I know that you've been a victim of that in a few times. And how do you, as a coach, recover from, to lack of a better word, lies?
Well, the thing that these people don't understand is, you have children, you have wives, you got brothers, you got families. And some of them it's just crucial, and it's more so, Coach, in the Black area, because we only got 20 major football jobs and another 20 Division II jobs, so we don't have a lot. So that's why they got the law. If you ain't broke the law, you know what I mean. If you haven't done some egregious. I think that you ought to be able to get up to. We're in America, Coach, and of course, I've lived through that. I've lived through that. I have, like I said, I've graduated from college. I got my master's in education. I got 4 certificates in teaching. In 4 different states, Coach, in Arizona. In high school. And my children. I've married both of my children's mothers. That we get along great, Coach. We get along great, and I ain't the first one that's got a divorce. My first wife, for hell, we childhood friends, man. My second wife, we get along, and these guys say stuff, man, just off the cuff, just really, really illiterate stuff off the cuff. And they don't understand that, and I like to thank them, Rocky. I thank because they kept me in the limelight for all these years. Even when I, got let go from Texas Southern, those are the same people keep me going. Every year this job pop open, my name is right there. Even when it ain't. The favorite word of a Texas Southern alum is, man, when Johnnie Cole here, that was the last time we won. Yes, sir. That is the last time we won. But time moves on, and the job is open again. And of course, I'm one of the center of it. Whether administratively, my name is there, or if it ain't. But I know some other guys that could be available to take that job. And we'll talk later about what I feel about the job. Because I'm the only one that done it since 1968. And before that, nobody else. And I'm the only one in the history of the school to win a SWAC title outright.
Coach, again, the truth should be sufficient for a guy. And like I said, my only deal is, if you're gonna make accusations and say things about people, just make sure that they're accurate. I think we have a responsibility to one another as a community.
Yes.
That when we mention a person's name and we mention their viability about a job or an opportunity, that we speak facts and we know what we're talking about, especially around people that make decisions regarding whether a man continues to operate in his profession or not, whether he gets an opportunity to work in his passion or not. I just think we owe it to one another to be accurate in what we say about those men.
Yeah, especially when you're a public figure. You're a public figure. Somebody holler out some, and as the old saying say, and you could correct me if I'm wrong. Don't nobody pass on nothing that's good, but when you hear something negative, man, it runs forever. But what we got to get to, and I bring up Muhammad Ali. Everybody didn't like Muhammad Ali. You had people pay to go see him. His mouth, he big mouth. Then you had those people who loved him, but both sides was good for him. Both sides sold tickets for Muhammad Ali.
Both sides bought tickets, huh, Coach? The people that hated him bought just as many tickets as the people that loved him. And the controversy sometimes, Coach, is good for business, for the lack of a better word.
Oh, ain't no question about it that we can understand the media and understand that all bad news ain't bad news. Some bad news is good news, because some people want to come and see you lose. You know what I mean? Some people want to come and see you get torn apart. But there are some people who really come there to support. And it's very important that when you're choosing these head coaches, I hear now that, they're throwing up all these NFL names, and I'm trying to figure out, do you understand that being a head coach is a manager? He ain't necessarily got to know everything. He's a manager. He's a manager of people. You know what I mean? What kind of can he public speak? How is he going to represent the university? How is he going to go out and get a full good staff? You know what I'm saying? Rob, all my coaches in college was pros. Someone was all pros. I mean, all pro meaning NFL ring of. My head coach was an NFL ring of fame coach.
Wow.
So I've been there. I've been on all those levels, coach. All those levels. I've been at the Division I schools. You know what I mean? The PWIs. I see how things are structured. I've been at the low PWIs. I see how things are structured. And of course, my journey through the HBCUs.
Yeah, Coach. As we talk about this, we can talk about this as we wrap up this college season, and you bring up the controversy around hirings and how it can kind of, ignite interest in a program. And that brings me definitely to Coach Prime. And Coach Prime is been in this, after having started out 3-0, now he's lost 8 straight games, Coach. But to be honest, this year is a win for the program. When you look at the interest of the program, the profile of the program, this is a huge interest. This has created huge interest in the Colorado program. And there's no way that you can say that, what is the Deion experiment at Colorado is a failure.
Well, one thing, Rocky, why I started this show and wanted to get involved with talking about HBCUs and coaches, because I want to salute them. You know what I mean? I know what they go through. We got some great coaches that come through this conference, and they never get talked about. When I was coming through the Ohio Valley Conference, there and all the coaches before my brother was, and it's been some great coaches come through the OVC, but they were white guys and they were getting these jobs, Boise State, Arkansas State. They were leaving the OVC, getting these small Division I's. So we run through there. We run through there and win back-to-back championships. I'm waiting on somebody to call my brother, but he got to deal with black stuff, at Tennessee State. Oh, well, we're not going to give you a raise, and he making $75,000. Done won 2 back-to-back champions. The only and last black college in the country to ever finish #1 in the nation, and we got to go through this stuff. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm talking about as far as helping ourselves. You know, we need to help ourselves. You know, and that's why one thing I reached out to Eric Dooley, and he's gonna come on in a minute. You know, that man, Dooley is a sharp guy, coach. He's a sharp guy. He's a great dresser. He loves his family. He's a family man. It just so happened that things didn't work out, and we're gonna hear his perspective. I think he deserves that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I disagree with getting rid of a coach after 2 years, especially with his pedigree. But we'll talk about that there. But that's why I started the show. Guys, HBCU, stop hating. Be positive about your coach or your coaches. Let them handle their personal life on their own. That's none of your business. Your business is how he runs that program. If he's running that program the right way and they winning, because at the end of the day now, Rock, you gotta win. You gotta win the full code now. Hey, look, I'll rub you, but you gotta win. You gotta win.
Well, Coach, so you guys know that if you don't know, I lived in Waco most of my life, right? And at the end of the day, anybody who knows about Waco, Baylor University is a rock's throw from my front porch, right? I live very close to Baylor University. And the reality is that they went 1-10 several times. But then they hired the right guy, which was Art Briles. And even Art Briles, a guy with a winning pedigree, a guy who had been in coaching probably 25 years by the time he got the Baylor job, it still took him 4 years to make it to a bowl game at Baylor.
Right.
So this stuff, I understand that even with a super competent, very professional coach, it takes time to build a program. And me and you've talked offline, Coach Cole. I don't know if it's the influence of Dion or what. It seems like these programs have gotten very impatient over the past couple years. And for whatever reason, they don't have the patience to allow a coach to build a program that it seemed like they had in the past. Seemed like.
Yeah, hold on, Rod. I got Coach Dooley on the other line for a minute. Coach.
I'm gonna do it from my phone.
Okay, you can stream. Fine. Yeah, stream from your phone.
Check this out, though. I'm gonna try to hold on to questions on fellas. I'm still working on some stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, we got that. All right. All right, Coach. We got to just be question about the Southern stuff. He got some deals where he worked. I tried to call it earlier, but we'll be very nice.
Yeah. Coach. Look, from my perspective, I just couple things. Coach Dooley, we have to acknowledge that Coach Dooley went to the SWAC championship last year.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes.
And I recall how he was celebrated. He was celebrated when he took the Southern job. He was almost like the prodigal son coming home to save the program, right?
Yes.
And 2 years later, this is where we are. And I want his perspective to tell us how we got here from the day he was hired to this point. Give him an opportunity to tell us how we got here, because that, we know what we think. We know what we think. We all have our opinion, but this is a platform where a coach can come on and give his perspective. And I think that's it. I think that's important because normally coaches don't get a chance to give their perspective, especially if they don't get another opportunity to address the press. Coach, go ahead.
HBCU coaches don't. Once they grown, once they let go, that's it. They off in the sun. They don't get to come and broadcast games and be invited to different type of media outlets like all the other coaches where they can. I mean, we got HBCU TV Go. We got ESPN. Why are head coaches not being able to leave from being a head coach over to the sideline, to the mic, be an analyst, stand around? when we're done, well, we're done. So hopefully this platform give them that opportunity, hey, just to talk football.
Absolutely.
Just to share with other folks, because we don't get that caveat to move on to social media. These coaches do this program. They bounce from that program to this program. They bounce from that program to this program. They go, for getting let go at this school, they on ESPN. Then they get another job. Then they on ABC. Shit, we can't even get on. I got to talk with the HBCU Gold, just to try to be an analyst. So, hopefully this platform can build that and to build our coaches and let people really get to know our coaches, from being able to call in and talk football.
Absolutely. And Coach, this is a great deal that you created. Great idea to talk football, and those are the kind of questions I want to, as much as I want to ask Coach Dooley, there are some ball questions that I want to ask him. He's been, my daughter's alma mater, he took them to a SWAC championship 2 years ago. And now, and then he went with Southern. I'd like to ask him, what the support at each school looked like. Was there a difference? Things like that, even from a standpoint, from a resource standpoint, was there a big difference in between coaching at Prairie View? Well, he's coached at Grambling, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Southern,
right,
and Prairie View. Those are the kind of questions that we want to, as you can say, the ultimate resume of a coach is wins and losses. Yeah. And nobody gets to hide those, right? Nobody gets to hide those. But there are some aspects of coaching, Coach, that, to be honest with you, the general public is not aware of. I remember you telling me a story where you won a conference championship with significantly less scholarships than your opponents. We don't know. I didn't know you had, 7 scholarships, and in the conference you were playing in, they could offer up to 36. That's a circumstance to me that creates an inequity. That how does a coach overcome that? How do you end up winning a championship? How do you end up winning a championship when you're given 7 scholarships and all of your opponents are given 36 scholarships? How do you win? Those are the kind of perspectives that we don't understand as fans. We don't know that as fans. Right. We don't get that inside baseball. And I appreciate you having this platform, Coach, to allow us the opportunity for coaches and people inside the game to really explain the circumstances for which they had to coach under. With no further ado, Coach, I think we have our guest has arrived.
Man, hey, is Dooley on there?
Yes, sir. No, he can't hear us now. You want me to go ahead and bring him up, Coach?
Yeah, bring him up. Bring my man on up. Look, Coach, I want my polka dot, baby. I know you gonna be clean. So I put the polka dot on tonight, baby. The Louis Vuitton polka dot,
You always clean.
Coach, man, look, I followed your career, fabulous career. I ain't saying it's over, but man, Coach, you've got a resume, man, that really, man, we should be pushing you to the NFL, Coach.
I appreciate that, but I'll tell you this here. I know my purpose. I understand my purpose, and I think my purpose is to try to impact these young men to be better citizens, regardless of what, of course, the dream is always to push them to the NFL. But then at the end of the day, if I can put a couple of degrees in their hand and have them to be successful, to go back to where they came from and make life better for other folks that's in that neighborhood, I think my impact has been well served. I tell folks all the time, I love coaching football, but I think it's my ministry, 100 yards of glory. And that's where I think I have my platform, where I have opportunity to reach and impact young men's lives.
See, Rocky, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? They don't know. There's always another half to these HBCU coaches, man. Because you coach because you care. You care about young folks, and I'm glad you shared that with us, Coach. Coach, you graduated from Grambling. You coached at Southern. Did you take over Mark Orlando as a coordinator?
I did not. I just stayed. I hung around and continued to learn and groom myself. Didn't try to grow so fast. I just continued to learn, and then I got my first opportunity to go to University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff as a coordinator, and it was a blessing ever since that, working with Coach Coleman.
Now I was a little jealous of you because I used to be the sweet guy at Southern. The young coach with the 32-inch waistline with the 42 chest. And I'm like, this guy coaching my wide receiver. I had the Sweet 6 when I was down there. We won a national title. But that's what I was like, man, I like this guy. And I seen your career and I followed you all the way up. So that helped groom me. I knew I had some tough shoes to fill. Hey, I had some tough shoes to fill on and off the field. I had to make sure I dressed the part. I had to make sure I had those wideouts playing. So I had some tough shoes. I understand what I was coming behind. That's right, Coach. That's right. Go ahead, Rock.
Hey, Coach Dooley, my name is Rocky Miller, Coach. I jumped in the HBCU space about 4 years ago with Coach Prime, and so I've been covering and been a fan. And when you got, and I'm a Texas guy, so when you jumped on, when I jumped on the scene, you immediately took Prairie View to a SWAC championship. So and that was a awesome experience for my friends who are PV alumni. They find themselves in a SWAC championship this year, and so I know a lot of guys on that staff and whatever. Can you just tell me what you think about the job that Bubba McDowell and his staff has done about taking a team that you used to coach to the SWAC championship?
Fortunate enough, I had the opportunity to know Coach McDowell before I even came to Prairie View, and was allowed and was able to keep him on as a defensive back coach. I knew, he and I had been going against one another, him working in the secondary, me being a wide receiver coach as an assistant coach. So when I had the opportunity to get that job, he was one of the guys I already had contact that I wanted to keep because I knew what he brought to the table. And just to groom those young men, we kind of had the same, we had the same goal and we had the same philosophy. But the most important thing, the vision was the same. When you have that same vision, you can accomplish a whole lot. So he stayed around and did a great job. And I brought most of those guys that are there with him now. They came as one of my assistants and they stayed on because they saw they had an opportunity to do some things and they wanted to be special. So, those guys are just growing within the profession. The great thing about, I would say, two of those guys that's on that staff that's in prominent roles right now, I coached as players. They were former players from me, and then they had the opportunity to work with me. I never say work for me, work with me. They had the opportunity to work with me, and now, I'm just smiling to see that both of those young men are doing a great job. When I talk about Rock Alvin Fosserman and I talk about Mark Frederick as the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator.
Hey, Coach Dooley, I must ask this question, being that you are where you are now and PV is where they are now, Coach. In hindsight, do you regret taking the Southern job at all?
I never second guess myself. I'm always been a praying man. That the Lord has always ordered my steps. And when he ordered my steps and give me an assignment, I take on that assignment and I try to do the best of my ability. So I never worry about second guessing myself because I have a praying family. I have a great wife and my daughters, they right there with me. So when we pray and we get that answer, we know what we need to do. We know what our assignment was to do.
Now,
Coach, I respect that, Coach.
Yeah, you coached at UAPB, you coached at Graham, you coached at Southern, you coached at Prairie View. Does all three have the same flavor, or if I would say which one did you enjoy the most, which would it be? Even in the Southern years when y'all were kicking tail.
I think each experience was different for me, but I thought at that time God was pruning me. He was preparing me. So I had to take a phase from each area that I went to prepare me for a time to be a head coach, for a time to be an offensive coordinator. So I think I took, I always learn. I think learning is every day. I think learning is learning what to do and what not to do. So a lot of time that regardless of who it was, I always learned. So I thought each spot was very, very valuable to me. When you get an opportunity, and you was fortunate enough to as well to coach up under a legendary Pete Richardson, you got to be able to take something with you that's going to help you. And then I had the opportunity to coach for Coach Coleman, who's a man of God as well, and played 16 years in the National Football League. I learned a whole lot from him as well. And then you go coach for someone that's younger than you are, and a lot of folks have that mindset of, well, he's younger than me, I know more. No, I submit to authority. I understand what my mission is, what I need to do to help him. And because if I ever get that opportunity, I don't want to be sitting in the same shoes that he would be sitting in if I say he's much younger than I am, and I'm his offensive coordinator. So I learned a lot from Coach Five, a lot of things that I do now. I took with me. So I kind of got best of all the worlds that I was in to bring with me to try to help me be successful wherever I've been.
When you left out one, you didn't hire me, because then I'd have been older than you. Then I'd have been up underneath you, and then you could have learned something from. No, I'm just kidding with you, Coach.
Coach Dooley, I want to ask you a question, because I remember when Coach Rollins was let go, and the entire Southern fan base they would have moved you at that point. They would have moved your things from wherever you lived in Texas all the way to Southern so you could have that job. They really wanted you to have that job. It was almost they had one united voice to hire Coach Eric Dooley for that job. And Coach, it's as we sit here, do you know where your relationship with the fan base kind of soured, or what went wrong, or was it administration? I'm still at dumbfounded as to how we end up here 2 years later with you being the former coach of Southern University.
Well, I still have a great relationship with a lot of the fan base. They're very passionate in what they do. They love their Jaguars, no question about that. They're going to travel. They're going to fill the stands. So I've always gotten along with everyone. I never had an issue with getting along with anyone. So I would say that I still have great relationship. I do understand the business wholeheartedly, and I think everyone else does as well. So there's no feelings toward any fans. I love them to death. Everywhere I go, I feel that the Lord has placed me there to do something. And when my assignment is done, then I know things have to take place. But as far as the Jaguar fan base, I love them to death. I'm still close friends with a lot of them. I still communicate with a lot of them. So there's nothing there for me. A lot of folks like to say, are you bitter? No, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. That's the B word I like.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, Coach, I thought it was a perfect fit myself. You being growing up there kind of in your career, and then you bounce around, because at one time at Grambling, you had the opportunity to go to UAPB or Prairie View, right?
Yes, absolutely.
What made you pick Prairie View over UAPB?
And and I had a lot of great years at UAPB. And again, there it is again. I can rely on my family and myself. We prayed on it, and I had to find out where God wanted me to go at. I don't like to sound all holier than thou, but that's what I lean on, for the Lord to order my steps, because once He ordered my steps, I don't have to look over my shoulder and say, was this the right decision? I know it was the right decision. It's all about timing, all about what He has for me to do.
All right, Coach, can we talk a little football, Coach?
Absolutely.
Coach, with the struggles that your offense had at quarterback, right? Do you think you, as the play caller, was put in a position to where you couldn't win? Do you think if you had a buffer, kind of like what Mike Tomlin has with Canada at Pittsburgh, a buffer in between you and the production of the offense, could you have possibly saved your job or been able to hire somebody else to do that job to kind of give you more time?
Well, I tell you this here. I'm a very, very confident young man. And when you talk about football, I'm very confident. And I don't ever want folks to take that for cocky. I'm confident, and I work hard at what I do. So I just think this the time. It was an off year with the offense, not what I'm accustomed to. So that's where it is. So it's nothing that I can say that could have changed or need to happen. It's just what happened. It's just a time for me, a new assignment.
Yeah, now, Coach, like you said, you won the championship. I mean, you went to the championship. Did you have enough time to get the right people in there to do and to play your kind of football and your kind of offense?
Well, I always like to hit the ground running. I'm a guy, and Cole, you and I have been knowing each other for a long time. I don't make excuses. When you give me the opportunity, I'm going after it. I'm going after 100%. And whatever I feel that I can do, I'm going to try to make that happen. If it doesn't happen, then it puts me in a situation to where it don't have me to sleep at night, because I believe in winning. That's what I want to do. That's when the wife get involved. Like, you need to get some rest. No, I can't get no rest. I got to get something right. I got to get this right. Something is not going the way that I know it should go. But at the end of the day, decisions are made, and I'm good with it. I like where I'm at right now. What I need to do, I'm very confident. The thing is, the biggest question is, will you coach again? Absolutely. God just have another assignment for me, and I'm just waiting on. I'm being patient and just letting the opportunity present itself. And would I hire an offensive coordinator? Yes, because I want to be the head coach. But sometimes you got to stir that pot yourself to get it the way you need it to be, and then move forward.
Hey, Coach, let me ask you this. You say you definitely want to coach moving forward, and there are coaches, they're about to be a season of hiring all over the country. We're talking PWIs, HBCUs, Coach. Would you consider coaching outside of HBCU football at this point?
I tell you, I'm a football coach. That's what I get up and do. Even right now, that's what I get up and do. My heart is in the HBCU, because I want it to be at the high level, to whereas our commission already has it going into a direction to whereas one of the best conference ever. And that's always been my mindset, to see how can I remain professional at all times and bring this up to a higher standard. No, I can't do it by myself, but that's always been a goal and a dream of mine. I'm a guy that's been taught long time ago, never say never, because you just never, and I don't know right now where my assignment would be. So I'm definitely open. But my biggest thing that I'm very confident in, that I will be coaching.
Yeah. One of the things that I don't know if people know, especially maybe the Southern fans, that you had some turnover coaching wise this past year. I know a couple of guys that you interviewed but you had a new quarterback coach, you had a new wide receiver coach. And I know that's your specialty, but did that play a role in slowing your offense down this year?
I think it the foundation was there. Of course, when new guys come and new things happen, they came in, hit the ground running, and did the things that was needed to be done. Just one of those things. And when I kind of look at the whole conference this year here, it's not the conference that I know of that scored a lot of points. Of course, you can't keep saying scoring all those points, but they got defensive coaches too. They got to play a role in that as well. And I think we got some excellent defensive coordinators within this conference that study the game just like we study the game. So it becomes a chess match, at some point. But I'm very confident some things going to turn around and get it to what I'm looking for. And that expectation is extremely high. I don't think I would ever reach my expectations, because it doesn't matter if I score 100. I feel I should have scored 101. So it don't really matter about the point scoring. It's just if I can. I guess my biggest thing going all around, if I can impact a young man's life and change it to help him to become a better person. Not saying that he was bad, but to be a better person and a successful person, then I think I've done a great job.
Well, let me ask you this here, Coach Dooley. You got it. As I mentioned, this is my last question, and we can let you go, Coach, because I know you had a small window, but I want your historical perspective on this, Coach. It seemed to me that the SWAC, in the 3 years that I've watched the SWAC, that there's been significant struggles at the quarterback position at many schools, not just Southern, but many schools. How would you assess the quarterback position the last 3 years in the SWAC compared to other times, other periods in SWAC football? And what do you attribute to if the difference, if there is one?
Well, I would attribute this here. It's no question about that. The defense are doing a lot of different things now. You know, they are disguising a lot of different coverages. They're doing a lot of different defense. You know, they're not in that. You know, Coach Cole knows this here as well, and you know it as also. You know, it back in the days in the SWAC, it's you didn't have to call no defense. It's in your face. It's man to man. I mean, it's just cat coverage. That's all it was. So it's a little different. I think, you know, defenses are gotten a little bit more challenging. But they got some pretty good quarterbacks in this conference. You know, I survey and I look at all of them and I try to see where they are and some of their weaknesses, some of their strengths. But we got some pretty good quarterbacks in their own right in this conference right here. It's just each year is going to be different. You know, of course, when you have turnovers, you're going to have different guys coming in. I've been fortunate enough, you know, ever since I've been at the Ham to have some excellent quarterbacks. I can't say that. I guess within this year and last year, it didn't show because of and I don't mean it in a boastful way. I'm used to winning championships, and that didn't get there. But you know, I always like to say it's not just the quarterback. It's called 11-man game, and you know you got to have 11 guys on that field. You know, everybody got to be able to do their part. Of course, he got the biggest part because he's gonna touch that football every down. So it's no question. But I don't think that the talent has gotten not as talented as it was been in the past. I just think you get that year or them years that where you have some quarterbacks that are talented and they've been in the conference for a while. And that gives them the opportunity to grow and become better. But I think the conference always got good quarterbacks. I just think the defense, I don't want to get them off to a bad start. The defense have stepped their game up as well, so they're playing some tough defense.
You know, one thing I like to piggyback off of Coach is saying, you know, and I guess my philosophy is a little different. You know, everybody kind of turned and went to the spread or turned their offense to the spread. And when the spread came out, you know, you're throwing the ball all around, everybody was scoring. I think, like you said, Coach, that the defenses now have caught up. You know, and they've not only caught up with scheming the spread, they've caught up with personnel wise. You know, and now that Coach, you know, when they used to have a thick linebacker, now that thick linebacker now is playing defensive tackle that can run and change and retrace the steps. And then now they're taking them safeties and moving them down. So you almost got six defensive backs on the football field. Because if you could tackle in the open, you slowing the spread down. You know, it's just like, you know, when Eddie used to run the wing T, and he was the only one running the wing T. And then when you start going to get bigger defensive linemen, you know, pushing those small guys back that he had, you know, that kind of slowed him down as well. So I think, you know, of course, like you said, the defense coordinators are getting much better and scheming the spread much better. But I think a lot of it has to do with if I just come out and see 4 wide or 3 by 1 all day, then yeah, you know, that's easy to defend. But I agree with coaches. Coach, these defensive coordinators have really turned it up.
You know, that's a great point. You know, now you know it was kind of like foreign when guys was running the spread because everybody wasn't running it. Now that everybody running, so now you get a chance to see it week in and week out, opposed to this the only time and I only have 1 week to prepare for it. It ain't no difference than when everybody went to the 4-2-5. It was creating problems for individuals. But now you see a 4-2-5 every week almost, and now they put their own little spin. So it's a lot of adjustments that have to be made, but that's why they call it coach. You got to make those adjustments and move forward and get better than the next guy.
Hey, Coach, Tara, can you clarify this terminology? What is cat coverage?
What is cat coverage? One-on-one, man-to-man. Johnny Cole know what I'm talking about, man-to-man, cat coverage. You got this cat, I got that cat.
And ain't nobody make a mistake, and everybody else split.
Hey, we used to call that cover one back in the day, but that's what I remember that. As Coach, speaking personnel, Coach, do you think with the previous coaching staff having a run-dominant offensive attack, that affected your ability to reshape the roster into a roster that was more accustomed to passing the ball? Did that affect, the performance of your offense at all?
No, I don't think so, because when you look at it, I know a lot of people get the misconception when they think of my offense that is just pass. For the last 10 years, I've had one of the most balanced offense in the conference, pass to run ratio. I do like to pass it. I believe that you got to be able to do it, but I don't think you should ever become one dimensional. So I've always had a great rushing attack that complement the passing attack, and that, everybody have their own philosophy. Some people use the philosophy, I'm going to use the run to open up the pass, or some people flip it, I'm going to use the pass to open up the run. It just depends on your personnel, how you want to spin it, and what you're capable of doing.
Well, you got some great coaches down there. Willie Totten, who used to be, we used to go head to head in the SWAC. I think together, me and him threw about 20 touchdowns in 2 games that we played each other. Well, really 3. And Chris Scott, Coach, man, you resurrect a great guy, man, and Chris Scott. He's a heck of a coach. He's a heck of a person, man, and I appreciate you. I know you that type of guy, man. So how you feel about these guys? You had Prime coming in and really no background, and now you got Eddie Robinson in, and he's down there trying to do his thing with no coaching, and now all of a sudden, black coaches like me and you that went to black schools, if we don't have no PWI experience, they won't even hire us at our own school, So I mean, where you are with that, just your philosophy or your thoughts on that.
When I talk to folks about that, you got a lot of coaches that within the conference, I guess, for lack of better words, say have paid their dues and want that opportunity. But here, I have that one philosophy that stands and stick with me, and it's not a selfish one, but it's just I just feel and believe what God has for me, it is for me. So it really don't matter, if that opportunity, if that's where God want me to be at, it's going to be there. As you guys can see, I'm a strong man in faith. That's what I believe in. And I think, opportunities, I think sometimes we got to understand that he's preparing us. His time is not our time. So we can't think of it where it's been 20 years. It may not take 20 years, it may take 25, but when it's 25 years, it's going to be the right time. It's the timing of it. So I don't worry about the time when it happened. Like myself, it took me almost 20 plus years before I even got a chance to be a coordinator. But I never pressured it. I never really wanted to be one. I guess that's one of the reasons why I just wanted to coach the wideouts. That's all I wanted to coach was wide receivers. But then, that passion started coming, and as I got more involved and got more knowledge, you can be that young guy coming out running routes all day and playing this position and think you know it. But it's not always that case. You got to learn. You got to learn from guys such like Johnnie Cole. I learned. See, you can always learn when you're looking at folks. I pay attention. That's one thing my dad taught me, to be very, very observant. I observe everything to make sure that I can compete because I'm a very competitive guy. So I think what God has for you, it is for you. And if that opportunity presents itself, it's going to hit you in the face.
Gotcha, Coach.
All right, Coach Dooley, I want to thank you for coming on with us, Coach. I know this is, maybe a difficult time for you and your family around the holidays, but I wish you guys nothing but the best. Is there anything you like to say to your Southern fans, Southern alumni about your experience the last 2 years at Southern, and anything you like to say to them?
Yeah, to the Jaguar Nation, I like to say thanks for the opportunity, for giving me the opportunity to come back home. Some folks treated me like I was the prodigal son. I came home, and, after going all around. But, I'm very, very appreciative. I had so many folks to help me while those 2 years. So, again, I'm never bitter. I'm blessed. And I understand that. So I just like to thank them for me even, I say in a lack of better words, putting up with me for 2 years. So now, the opportunity to come back home and be around family, people that I know that gave me the opportunity, I'm grateful and I'm thankful. So hats off to the Jaguar Nation. Once again, thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of their lives for 2 years.
Man, I appreciate you, Coach. I've watched you. You've always been a man of faith. I've watched how you handled yourself. Man, you've always been first class. And like you say, man, there's a future for you in this game. That's if you want it. And I look forward to seeing you back on the sideline.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for having me on just to speak.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, sir.
Same to you guys.
Yeah.
All right, that was none other than the former Southern head coach, Eric Dooley. Nut Show proved to be nothing but a class act. He came on this show and talked about his experience at Southern, Coach. It's not always an easy thing to do, to talk about the institution that fired you in such a glowing manner that Coach Dooley did. But like I say, he showed nothing but class, and I want to appreciate him for coming on and talking about it. Now I want to say this: a lot of you guys had a lot of specific hard questions, what you would consider hard hitting questions for Coach Dooley. We didn't bring him on to embarrass him or to put him on the spot or belittle him in any way like that. We brought him on so that he could give his version of what happened and share with us what he wanted to, right? If you guys want to ask him all of those questions about why didn't he play this, why did he play that, at the end of the day, that doesn't matter anymore. The man has lost his job. He's going to move on, and Southern's going to hire a new coach. And I just want to show my appreciation for him coming on the show, because if not for him, a lot of you guys wouldn't even be here right now.
And Coach, this is the only show he's been on. The number
Absolutely.
one show, only show he's been on, number one. And number two, he's still going through negotiating the rest of his contract. So he's got to be really careful about what he say and what he do, But, I just, this show or our show, Rocky, we believe that he should have had at least another year. I don't think you go to a championship. Dang, that happened to me, huh, Rocky? I don't believe you win a championship and then you go on the next year. You know what I mean? I think you get a man a chance.
Well, what I wanted to get out of it, and I've mentioned this on several shows, Coach Cole, is that I'm just surprised that at all the fanfare that he came into that job with, all the support, all of, like he said, he was treated as the prodigal son that is coming home. Those are words that came out of his mouth. And in less than 2 years, we're at this point. That's what I don't understand. Now, he didn't give us much insight as to why, he's here, how we ended up to this point. But at the end of the day, I respect him for coming on, because a lot of guys wouldn't come on under those circumstances. And like I say, class act, top notch.
I've been told, Rocky, that most of our HBCU head coaches, they shy away from the media. They don't like talk shows. But most of them, we don't have that platform. We don't have the ESPN platform. You know what I'm saying? We don't have Fox.
Hey,
platform.
Coach Cole, Coach Cole, you're froze. Could you disconnect and reconnect? In the meantime, I want to invite everybody who would like to call in, give their perspective on the Eric Dooley interview. If you were able to listen to it, I want to invite you to call in. Call in at 518-351-9464. Tell us what you thought about the interview. I'm willing to take constructive criticism and let us know. I thought it was a very interesting interview.
Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is Friday, July 19th, 2024. Number 1, the White House announced Wednesday that President Biden has been diagnosed with COVID-19. And while the medical condition took him off the campaign trail and back to Delaware to recover, the reports of direct pressure from members of his own party to drop out of the presidential race have increased. In addition, a warning has been reported that donors are reluctant to write the big checks needed for the final stretch of the campaign due to the condition of the president. Number 2, the U.S. Navy exonerated 256 black sailors punished unjustly after a 1944 Port of Chicago explosion in California. The exoneration addresses racial disparities in the military with legal errors during the court-martials and found including improper trials and denied counsel. All sailors sadly have passed away, but discharges will be changed to honorable. Family members can seek past benefits from the Department of Veterans Affairs. Number 3, racism is not just dangerous for your mental and emotional health, it can age your brain. A new study from the Journal of the American Medical Association found that repeated exposure to racial discrimination has been associated with a greater incidence of brain health disorders. It also determined that racial discrimination contributes to accelerated biological aging via altered connectivity. Number 4, Shannon Boswell, a 30-year-old black transgender woman, was killed last week in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Authorities initially believed that Boswell died in a crash involving a hit-and-run driver on July 2nd. However, an autopsy discovered evidence she also had been shot. It's unclear if the shooting or the crash is the official cause of death. DeKalb County Police are looking for anyone with information about this to contact them. Number 5. Dr. Taylor D., a former public school teacher turned entrepreneur, uses her background and passion for teaching to educate children through catchy songs and engaging content on YouTube. Her platform has over 5,000 subscribers, 70 videos, and 1.5 million views. She also assists organizations in launching youth-serving businesses. Way to go, Teach. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Life is a series of choices. Let's all choose to cultivate discipline, which requires continuous effort, self-reflection, and adjustments along the way. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Be informed, be empowered.
My name is and I won $500 on the lunch money from the Keeping Up with the Joneses Bracket Challenge.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.